Welcome to another CEO Wisdom Pod. We have Craig Goodliffe with us today, aka Craig Goodliffe. He is CEO at Cyberbacker. He's in Ogden, Utah, United States. Was a realtor for quite a while. Nowadays has a bunch of investment properties. And Cyberbacker is this huge company. 3,400 employees, you said, Craig?
Yeah, yeah.
That's a lot. Tell us how you got there.
Well, I think the most interesting thing is it was never something I set out to do. I put an ad online back in 2012 and said, I need someone to help me advertise real estate. And by posting ads on Craigslist, because we used to get a lot of home buyers from there. So Daphne replies from the Philippines and says, I can do that for you. And I went, You're from the Philippines. How would that work? And she says, Well, send me the pictures. I'll write the description and then I'll delete and repost. So you're always on the newest ones. People don't go to page 12 of Google and they don't go to page 12 of Craigslist. And this wonderful, wonderful person, very consistent, very reliable, did a great job and business grew. And we ended up hiring someone else because one of the things we wanted to know when someone went and looked at a home that we had listed, what they think. And sometimes we'd call and leave messages, but when you have a lot of different people to call and talk to, it takes a while. So we got some help with that and business grew again. And then eventually I had a friend who came to me and says, Hey, how are you doing what you're doing? You're selling 200 homes a year. You coach business owners. And I said, Well, I've got a great assistant. She said, What do you mean? I said, I've got someone from the Philippines and they're kind of like a babysitter. She says, Can you help me do that? So I helped her and everything just kind of came together. And truthfully, Charles, it feels like building an airplane while it's flying because it was never something I set out to do, but here we are.
Yeah. And you've been at it for quite some time now, 5 years, almost
Yeah,
six, with
yeah.
that one. How did you experience that growth? Because at this number of employee, you must be making at least 30, 50 million a year, something like that.
Well, the company does pretty good. As far as actual gross, I'd have to go look. And most of it goes back to our wonderful employees, takes care of them, takes care of their families. But yeah. So how do we grow it? It was one client at a time. We found out what a client was having that was a problem. Could we solve it? Who would we have to hire to solve that problem? Whether it was some people, they just need someone to answer their phone and their text messages and their emails because it's 5 minutes here, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes here. And people need to hear back from them. But sometimes it's the same answer you told the other person. So sometimes it's simple things like that that people they need to take their business to the next level. And we've been fortunate to do that. So just one at a time, several different entrepreneurs, we've said, where are you stuck? How can we help you? Some of them they said we need someone to call and set appointments for us, or we need someone to build a website, or we have an accounts receivable nightmare or an accounts payable. And for us, we went ahead and if you go over to the Philippines and you work in the call centers, which some of the most amazing people, they work a graveyard shift, they speak awesome English, and they go work at these call centers, they have to take a train there, public transportation. We got that sucker wrapped. It says Cyberbacker and work from home. So we've got a lot of people in the Philippines going, "What's this work from home stuff? I'm used to working a graveyard shift, and I'm good at customer service." And they'll come work with a company like us, and they'll get paid just a little bit better. Actually, it's quite a bit better, but they'll make better money. They'll be able to spend more time with their family, and we've noticed that gives our entrepreneurs, when they have more help, more time with their family and more time to grow their business. So it's been a pretty win-win-win all the way around.
But how does one grow to from zero to 3,400 employees in less than 5 years? You must have a pretty significant sales pipeline. And is it fair to say that you have probably a handful of huge clients that constitute at least 60% of your client base?
No, I think our client that has the most cyber backers is one person who works with 16. I think that's
Wow.
our record. So we staff one business owner at a time. But what we find is a lot of these business owners have the same set of problems and they know other people with those problems. So when we go ahead and let's say that you had a problem with social media and you weren't improving your social media presence. So we hire you someone to do that. And then we ask you, is there anyone else that you know who might need that or anything else? And you'd say, well, my friend over here. And then we can help them. But a lot of great business people like yourselves are pretty connected. And we found if we do an awesome job for them, we take care of them, we support them, and they get results, they want to talk about the results they're having, and they tend to be really great about referring people.
Right. Just that the churn is high because these business owners, they come up with the strategy and then they outsource the execution. And most of the time the strategy is not good, and their mindset is like, yeah, I have one strategy. If it fails, it fails. While the right
Yeah.
mindset is to have 100 of these strategies and never stop until you're at the 100th, and you might have a success by then.
Yeah.
So seems that this churn rate usually it stops most outsourcing businesses in their tracks, but it obviously did not do that with you. um I'm guessing for that reason that you have a great sales pipeline, a great lead gen strategy. You do have that referral system going, but
Yeah.
do you specialize into some areas as well that you've become really good at?
Oh yeah. When it comes to working with business owners to say like sales pipelines, we've had a great time in some mastermind groups and things like that. And also, Charles, one thing I'd really miss if I didn't clarify. We've got 30 franchise owners who are out there every day, also working with business owners like yourself. They're also working with people who just they need help, and so they have them plus a growth backer. So you have a sales force, but it's not just my relationships and referrals. There's too, because many hands make light work. So
And cyber backer careers that I'm looking at, that's just the recruiting
yeah,
front end, and that's super important for you so that you always have a nice pipeline of people just in case that one client requires more staffing. So you have 3,400 workers. That is for how
yeah,
many clients? 1,000-ish?
4,000.
4,000. So there's
Yeah,
0.7 humans per clients.
yeah. There's some people that they have a part-time person, and so they'll do part-time for this person with their social media and part-time with this person with their social media.
Your cell systems, what do they look like? I need to know.
Old fashioned spreadsheets, pen and paper, great relationships. I mean, I'm going to tell you, this is one of those things that for our clients, we really get in their business and say, how do we partner with you? How do we work with you? We care about you. We want to support you. And you have results. And we know by focusing on it, if you have that, you're going to tell other people about it. I'd love to tell you there's a secret pill, there's a magic button. I'd love to tell you our social media ads were awesome and they worked, but I would be lying to you. I mean, we'll go to events and stuff like that, but you look at the big secret, I think, of business is just to find a problem that a lot of people have that you're very passionate about solving, and that's it. That fills sales pipelines. That's everything because when people have a problem, they will pay to have the problem solved. We've just done a really good job of identifying, oh, you have this problem, and you have this problem, and you have this problem, and here's how we can solve it for you. Would that make you money? And if they say yes, then absolutely. Someone in the Philippines gets a job. Our job is to go ahead and filter from 15,000 a week down to the very best because none of our clients want to sit through 15,000 interviews. We found they're just not that excited about it. And then go ahead and make sure we put them in front of the 5 to 10 best to let them choose. And then once we've done that, our job is to train them to be able to do the job and be able to master on other cyberbackers on how to become the best at it. And then from there, as the relationship grows, they'll typically end up hiring 2 or 3 more. So it just doesn't stop there.
Right. The scale is interesting. For the record, I went through two Philippines myself, Philippines, that is, that was like a decade ago. Wanted to establish some of my call centers there, and we also had an outsourcing business. Could never really scale it the way you did, so that's the part that's impressive. Yes, just like any businesses, you must have faced some pretty intense challenges. So, what were they, and how did you resolve these?
Oh, Charles, the big one was when I woke up and I got an email from PayPal. Company wasn't even 2 years old yet. And they said, we're keeping your money for 180 days and choosing not to do business with you. There was $136,000 that we collected from clients. all of it was ready to go out to our cyberbackers. So they got paid, company wasn't making any money. And PayPal just took that away. And these guys have been working. So that was November of 2019. That about took us out. And I'll tell you, I raised money everywhere I could. I borrowed it if I could borrow it. I sold stuff. I did whatever it took. And once we went ahead and we got that made right, and we got everything figured out. We got a different payment collection system. We did get our money back from PayPal. And to be fair, they thought we were money laundering because we're collecting hundreds of thousands of dollars and moving on the other side of the world. Which, if that's not done right, you can't do that. You got to set up an entity in the Philippines and whatnot. So some questionable practices get in. So that was huge. That almost took us out.
Wow.
And we thought COVID was going to take us out, like a lot of people, but COVID did the other thing. It accelerated us.
How so?
Yeah.
How so?
Yeah. Well, COVID, everyone that was a possible business owner, we started 2020 with 232 people. We ended with 870. And it's because we had clients who'd sit and talk to us who we could go ahead and do a deep dive in their business and say, what does your business need right now? And our great growth backers are really good at diagnosing and saying, well, it sounds like your business could use the social media strategy, or it sounds like your business could use someone answering your phone or building you a new website. And so that was really a building year for us because business owners were stuck home. They'd talk to us. And once we did that, it was easier to grow.
What about cultural problems with Philippines not sharing that? Because what I see often with Philippines is, I don't know, I have something against non-entrepreneurial folks or folks that are yes mens, and it seems that
Right.
Philippines falls into both. And
Yeah.
I've never been able to have specifically Filipinos as employees. Indians are great in my opinion. Serbians, Northern Africa had a good fit as well with my type of personality and the culture fit. Did you anytime had clashes, especially at the senior management level? Because at this size, I'm guessing that you must have more senior folks surrounding you and your team. Did you had any clash regarding that lack of entrepreneurship that I've seen personally in the Philippines?
Well, I think you're 1,000% right 99% of the time. I think you hit the nail on the head 99%. We've just done a really good job of finding that 1% because some of them, they are entrepreneurial. Some of them are very, very together. Some are smart, but this is why we get 15,000 applicants per week. We interview 5,000 and less than 50 are people we would actually hire. Yeah, it's because we've got the same challenge you do. We've spent a lot of time going ahead and making sure that we were hiring someone who is not going to be a yes man, who's going to go ahead and be upfront, someone who thinks like an entrepreneur, like a business owner, someone who's motivated. There's another thing on there. There's this integrity score. We can tell the probability rate if someone's going to lie to us. We can
How did
look
you
at
do that? Yeah, I saw you
you
on
ever
Chris Voss, by the way.
well, if you ever want to, we've got our assessment from a company called Berg, but those are the things they test for. And so, like, if anyone wanted to build that assessment, what we did was we took our top performers. They took this assessment. We built this assessment around how they operate. And so, when someone else takes the assessment, it tells us the probability rate that they're going to function at the same capacity. That's how we did it.
And what? Okay. Because usually I'm bad at spotting liars. I think we all are, because liars are really good at lying, at not being detected. Interesting. So the interview questions that you ask, or how do you conduct an interview? And I'm hoping it's like less than 15 minutes. Me usually, even for the first 30 seconds, I know if someone is a fit or not. I always had the problem in telling them no. That's also another question that I had for you, because my time quite precious and my schedule. So like as soon as I saw that they were not great communicators, that they had low energy and so forth, I wanted to cut it short, So how do you conduct an interview? What questions do you ask, and how do you tell someone with love that they won't be a fit?
Well, so the first thing we do is we do an assessment that's called a values assessment. This is before they meet with anyone. This tells us what motivates someone. If you're motivated by days off and uh, let's just see, it's called individualistic, which is self-expression. Those are your two highest vectors. You belong working in an art studio with a freelance. That's going to fit your. That's it. If the only reason you're here is for money, which is one of the other seven vectors, that's great. You're going to leave when someone's willing to pay you more money. There's a few other vectors. There's seven that people actually go ahead and it helps determine how they conduct themselves. One's education. Some people, they will take out as much as they can in student loans. They love to learn. One of the other things is structure. Some people are truly motivated by structure. It's not money that gets them going. It's having a plan and following it. One's altruism. There's people that they'll give all their money away because they want to help others. There's some people that are motivated by free time, and some people they're motivated by a job position. That's the first assessment. When we know where they fit on those things, we know if we have a client that's going to be a fit for them or if they're a fit for us. Because if they're that person that wants all the time off they can get, and they want all the self-expression they can have, freelance artist is about the only thing that would fit in there. But when we have someone who's got an accounting mind, who's motivated by learning, who loves following structure and taking responsibility, I may have something that's great at accounts receivable, accounts payable. But I have to look at that first before the interview, because if I am looking at the interview next and they're an accounts receivable, accounts payable, like accountant person, they probably suck in an interview. And I'm sorry, because I just probably upset half our audience here. But some of those personalities, they don't interview well. So I have to know what's going to be like, what are your hot buttons? And then I'll chat with them, but I know they're going to be nervous. They're from the Philippines. That's a big one. They're probably going to go ahead and be on someone else's computer, at someone else's house, on someone else's internet connection. And working together like this might not be an everyday thing. It might be a fantasy, you know? So in the first interview, we just ask them some general questions, and we're going to ask the easy to lose, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Would you stay with the company? Would you leave? You know, I mean, they'll tell us right there, oh, I plan on, leaving and going to college. Hey, cool. At least we know. But we're just looking for any reason to not work together. And then we're doing our next assessment, which is the Burke. And it takes an hour. It's very intense. It's the one's going to tell me if they're going to lie to me. And once I have that one, now we're on interview number 2, and we've done 2 assessments. And I can really finally have a conversation with this person because I know how they operate.
And
So,
other than comparing the non-liars traits with the potential liars, any questions that you can ask to spot if someone doesn't have truthfulness as a value?
well, one of my favorite questions is, what was the last lie that you told?
Oof. Today, shit. It's hard because I try to never lie, so
Yeah.
I cannot answer that questions, nor if I dig like a week ago. Sometimes I say white lies, to when I'm really tired, if I want to avoid a confrontation, but that's really rare also. So I
Yeah.
cannot tell you when's the last time I lied, consciously, that is.
Yeah. Consciously. Yeah. It's less about the answer and more about how they evaluate the question. Because someone who has to actually put in the time of thinking of it is more vested in the answer than someone who says, oh, I don't lie. Or they go ahead and they give you something that was it wasn't a real answer. They just said something. My wife asked me yesterday if, she thought if I thought she was fat, you know, but look at how much thinking and how much processing they have to come up with the answer, you
When's the
know.
last time you lied?
This morning when my son went ahead and said, what are you going to do today? And I knew I had to go do a little bit of a negotiation. I said, buddy, I'm going to have so much fun with someone I work with.
That's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not as much the answer as Bert, like digging behind that answer, I guess. Do you still get these toxic humans in every now and then, the company? How do you spot that, and how do you cut the cordon?
Well, it's kind of a chemical problem because some people are running around and it has nothing to do with you or me. The way their life is, they're constantly being injected with cortisol and adrenaline, and there's this fear going on. And even though the job might not be a stress producing job, they might be stressed with other thing in life. So I want to look at, what are your distractions? How many kids do you have? What are your responsibilities? What would keep you from coming to work? Because there's the formula: performance equals potential minus interference. I want to know their interference. I want to know what that is, so we know exactly if there's a problem. And then I'm looking at how big of stressors those are. If someone goes ahead and it's like, tell me about yourself, and they say, I work out, it tells me you're injecting your body with endorphins every day. I'm very big on meditation, visualization. Great. That tells me you're working on your serotonin levels every day. If I can go through just those regular biological chemicals, if I can do that in an interview, I can tell, are they going to show up stressed every day, or are they going to show up happy and positive every day? Because if they're showing up stressed every day, I don't care how good I think they are. They're only good for today. I mean, I've had people have worked for me. One of them, the more independent she became, the less her boyfriend liked that. And so he'd go into her workstation and start unplugging her computer and everything, making it harder for her to work. That's a bad family situation, but it affected my company. So you've got to look at, what are the stressors? And it's the same thing with your clients. You look at the chemicals we're all injecting into their body. Is it adrenaline? Is it cortisol? Or are we injecting positive chemicals like sending people birthday cards and stuff? It's one of our real secrets for growth.
What are your top goals for the remainder of this year, and what are your goals for the next one, 2024?
Yeah, I love that question. That's a great one. Well, right now, for the end of 25, going even further, our plan is to have created 15,000 jobs and profit share back to our associates 5 million, because that makes it so we have retirement in place. That keeps people in Cyberbacker and doing good. So that's our big one, which means by next year, we have to get to 7,500 clients, which is in essence doubling the business, which is a lot of work, and it's pretty intense. But between now and the end of the year, the thing we've got to work on more than anything is, how do we go ahead and take the best care we can of our clients? How do we take the best care we can of our Cyberbackers? How do we take the best care of our franchise owners? And so I've asked my team this question: if you went ahead and you had to go to court, and they said, did you take care of this client? And you said, yes. They said, okay, show me your evidence. How do I know? Did you make him feel important? You make him feel special? Like, did you help their business grow? Our team has to come up with those answers. Because if we can do that, I mean, I love growth and I want to go ahead and do that, but I don't want to grow at the expense of relationships. I don't want to, I want to make sure we got great relationships. We're taking care of people. Once we are, we're doing good, that we can keep scaling that to hit our bigger goals.
How do you make sure your team is using technology and AI to increase your clients' output even more?
Oh, I love that you asked that. We just finished. We have a certification process that we have our Cyberbackers go through, and we'll say, use whatever AI you want, but here's the results you have to produce. Like, write a description for a house, or write some sales content for social media. So, but yeah, we do have them go through a full thing, because if you don't understand social media, you're going to, or AI, well, and social media, you're going to be replaced by AI.
You are. Craig, thank you for the time today. Thank you for the wisdom. It's really impressive what you're building. Where can people find out more about you?
Cyberbacker.com. People can go there. There's a couple cool things that I do, but I'm a social media guy. Like, if you want to know more, reach out on Facebook, or email me, Craig@cyberbacker.com. I love having positive interactions with other business owners. We all win from that. Just like we're doing today.
Yes, exactly as we have done today. So that was another CEOWisdomPodcast.com with Craig, and we are super grateful you tuned in. Craig Goodliffe, aka a Goodliffe, 2 Fs on LinkedIn, 26K followers, 3.4K employees, and when we're gonna do a follow-up in 2 years from now, 7.5K employees. How impressive is that?